So thanks for joining us for Build a Park activity. We're really excited today. Again, my name is Amanda, and I have my friend Isaiah with me today. And we're going to talk a little bit about our Nebraska State Park system, okay? So when we're doing this program, what we will do is if you have a question, you can raise your hand and maybe your teacher or para can repeat your question for me, because sometimes I have a hard time hearing the question. And we're going to better understand Nebraska state parks and then how they're managed or maintained. But real quick, I wanted to know by a show of hands, how many of you have visited a Nebraska state park, state historical park, or a state recreation area before? Okay. Now, what are some of the areas that you have visited? You can probably just shout them out.
I think those are the main ones.
Right. So how many do you think we have across our state of Nebraska? How many state parks, state historical parks, and state recreation areas do you think we have in the entire state of Nebraska?
37.
Okay. Oh,
Okay, good.
Yeah, those were all lots. Our guesses were across the board, weren't they? There were lots, to 3 million to 10. Let's uncover some of this. So here's a screenshot. Now, we were close. We have 76 areas across our state. And you can see on our map here, there's some different bubbles, right? There's some different colors. So the ones with the lime green with the dark green tree there, those are our state parks. So we have Fort Robinson State Park, Chadron State Park, Smith Falls, Niobrara, Ponca. You named a couple of them, Mahoney, Platte River, and Indian Cave. So there were 8 state parks, and they oftentimes have modern camping or cabins or something like that. Then we go to the blue polka dots. Those are our historical parks. So a lot of times they have that history aspect, and that's where history comes alive. They have some really cool older buildings, maybe they have some cool artifacts and other stuff for you to look at and to see. So there's 9 of the historical parks. And then all of the dark green blobs are state recreation areas. And that's where Isaiah and I work. We're all the way out here. Do you see this green blob, like the furthest away from you probably? That's Wildcat Hill State Recreation Area. And recreation areas have things like camping, hiking, fishing, boating. They have lots of cool interactive stuff for you to do. So there's 76 of them across our state. And they have, like I said, those 3 different types. And here are those examples again. The state parks, which were those lime green polka dots, the modern camping. And then we have our historical parks, which were the blue polka dots. And then those state recreation areas that are near and dear to my heart anyway, because I work at one, right, that offer hiking or picnicking and whatever. So I'm going to pop quiz. Are you ready for this pop quiz? What is Nebraska's oldest state park? Are you ready to know? Here we go. Yeah, it is Chadron State Park. So that was that polka dot that was way on the other end of the state. Okay. And why this is important is because Chadron State Park is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. Yeah. So Nebraska state parks are celebrating their centennial. In Chadron State Park back in 1921, there was a senator called James Good who thought we needed a state park and we needed it in Chadron. And then that grew to our state historic park. Our first one of those was Arbor Lodge. Our first state recreation area, which was around Broken Bow, is Victoria Springs. And now we have 76 areas spread across the state. And I have some questions for you. Now that we started with the pop quiz, I want you to put your thinking caps on. Because when we're talking about state parks, state historical parks, and state recreation areas, I have some questions about that. And I want to know your thoughts. I want to know, what do you think the purpose of a park is? Why do we want to have state parks? What is the purpose for these? Okay, now I have another question for you. Who owns the parks? Who owns the state parks? Nebraska Game Parks manages these areas. So we make sure that there's enough food for the animals to eat. And we make sure like the trash is picked up. But did you know that these parks actually belong to you? They belong to the citizens of Nebraska. And so we want to make sure that we take care of them, right? And then we get out there and we visit them. So my next question is, what are some of the different things, features, do our state areas showcase? What do they like to show off, do you think, in our state areas, our state rec areas, our state historical parks, and then our state parks? What are some of the things that they like to like showcase or show off? Okay. Yeah. And sometimes there's a park superintendent at the area that they make sure that folks are following the rules, right? And then we also have our law enforcement officers, and they come and help make sure people are following the rules as well. But we also get help from sheriff's department, or sometimes state patrol will come and help us. So there's lots of people that are there that help enforce the park rules. And why that is important is because you all, in a little bit, but not yet, will be building your very own state park. So here are some guidelines to help you. So you're going to create your very own state park, and you can showcase either a natural like feature like trees or lakes or ponds, or cultural features, so something historic. So you can choose what you want to showcase. You need to also think about what your visitor needs. So if a visitor's coming to your park, maybe we need to think about trash cans. Where are they going to throw their trash? Maybe we need to think about a bathroom, because when I go to a state park, I need to make sure that there's a bathroom or a drinking fountain or something. If I'm out hiking on the trails, I need to make sure that there's a water fountain there. If you can, I want you to pick out 5 rules you think your visitors should follow when they're at your park. So maybe it's have your dog on a leash, or maybe it's stay on the trail, or throw your trash in the trash can, or you can make up whatever rule you would want. And then we are going to share our park. So we're going to go on a park tour, and some of our friends are going to share what they have designed. Okay. So you've got probably about a good 10 minutes to design and come up with what you want to show off at your state park. Is it going to be a natural feature or a cultural feature? What are your visitors going to do when they come to your park? And maybe some rules that your visitors can follow when they're at your park. Okay? The sky's the limit. So I'm excited to see what we come up with. All right, folks, if we could come back together, if you wouldn't mind putting your pencils or your color pencils or whatever you're drawing with down, and we're going to be respectful listeners, okay? Because everyone I saw was really working hard on their park design, and I'm really excited to see what you came up with, okay? So what we will do is I might have your teacher help me out, and she can either pick people or draw sticks out of a hat or whatever. And then maybe you can come up to the computer screen over here and show us what you designed, if you wouldn't mind. And with that in mind, if you wouldn't mind telling us maybe some of the rules you came up with for your visitors to follow, or any highlights you want to show us about your park, okay? So I'm going to have your teacher or your para help me out and pick out some people to come and present to us.
So explain some of the rules and what you have in there, Ivor.
No throwing trash.
On the ground, maybe?
Yeah. And no disturbing the fish because they're watching TV. That's what it means.
Very nice.
Yeah. And because they're watching TV. And no throwing away trash on the ground. And no throwing away pizza on the animals.
Oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that one. Thank you for sharing. I like that you shared your rules with us as well for your visitors to follow.
All right, so Jackson's going to share next. So share some of the rules and everything.
My rules are, I gotta flip it over so I can rules, don't litter. Rule number 2, don't feed the animals. Rule 3, if bear attacks you, scream for help, etc.
Yes, that's very specific. Yes. And what can you highlight? Oh.
I've got nature, got a parking lot, ice cream, restroom. That's really it.
Well, I enjoyed the ice cream truck. I enjoy that. And I like that you added the parking lot because that's one that we haven't seen a lot, thinking of where your visitors needed to park. So that was good. Okay. I'm excited to see yours now.
I didn't draw any of mine, but I do have a few rules.
Okay, let me hear them.
Number 1, don't touch the animals. Number 2, if your child is lost, report quickly. Number 3, keep child with you at all times. Number 4, if you see someone hurt, report immediately. Number 5, don't loiter or litter. Number 6 is have fun.
Okay, so I feel like your park is going to be family oriented then. From your rules, I feel like that maybe where your park is going to go. That was great set of rules. So thanks for sharing those with us. Yes.
So I did this rule. Rule number 1, be respectful. Rule number 2, be safe. And there's a pool. It says there's a pool. Don't swim unless there's a parent. Rule 3, no swimming. Rule 4, stay 6 feet. And I just draw the swing and stuff.
Oh, I liked all those rules. Those were all really good safety rules that you came up with. So that was really great to have all those. And I liked the part that you came up with. It looked like a lot of fun.
So my rules are no walking and drinking, and no drugs. Stay 6 feet, mask on, and no sass.
Want to show her yours?
This is mine.
Oh, and is that a heart? Is that a path or is that the shape of your park?
The shape of my park.
I hadn't thought of using that shape. And what are some of the highlights that you have in your park? What are some of the features that you have?
A pool.
Okay.
And a bench, and and trees, and bathrooms, and a Native American right here.
Okay, so you have some cultural aspect in there as well. So that you've really put a lot of stuff in your heart-shaped park there. That's really good. Thanks for sharing. I think we have time maybe for one more. Just one.
So mine, I added a little sort of like neighborhood that has a bunch of cabins that you can stay in overnight. And then over here I have a pond and a bench and a trash can. And then up here I have a little sidewalk that goes up to this food stand that you can get food from. And one of the rules is to not jump in the pool or not jump in the pond, and because there's fish inside of there, and not to go fishing because you just want to look at the fish, and to not like hurt any of the animals that are in the wild. And I was gonna add some trees, but I didn't have time. And to not litter and just throw it in the trash can.
Those are some good rules to have at your park, isn't it? Well, thank you all for sharing your wonderful parks. It looks like you put a lot of thought into what you were drawing and then the rules that you came up with. So throughout this year, since we are celebrating our centennial, if you want to learn more about our Nebraska state parks and our history behind our state parks, if you go to yournebraskaparks100.org, there's lots of cool stuff to look at, like the history behind our state parks, how we got started. There's some different lesson plans on there. And they also showcase some of the special events that are going on in our state parks this year. And they're happening across the state. So we encourage you to get out there during this centennial year and visit some of your Nebraska state parks, because there's lots of fun stuff to see and do there. And I want you to think about this activity when you go there. And I bet it'll kind of make you think a little bit about how our state parks were designed and what some of the features are and why they're highlighted on our state areas. Okay. So thank you for being such good listeners today. You did a really great job participating in the activity, and I hope you have fun the rest of your day. So thanks for inviting us in to your classroom today. Thank you. Bye.